be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case over on Rumble, of course, where we will unpause and then repause. We've got Cuban in here. We've got Salty Reese's Cup in here, etc. We got a bit of news to cover today. It's a little bit more of a slow Friday than it was like for the last 2 days. They were kind of frenetic. The news has been moving fast. But we've got all sorts of things that we do have to talk about. Broadcast TV is obsolete. Let's auction the public airwaves. This comes from the Pirate Wires, of course. I generally agree with the basic premise, although I don't know that you can really revive broadcast TV at this point. So many people use on-demand or they just go online that it is not only is it obsolete, it's fundamentally useless. I mean, it's still going to exist, but unlike radio, which a lot of people do on the go and shit like that, especially AM radio, like talk radio and stuff like that, still very popular in rural and small town America. You've got this, gargantuan monstrosity that is network TV. It doesn't really cut it anymore, especially for politics and news and things like that. Nobody pays attention to it. More people go to the websites and then tune into the broadcast. Iran and Russia signed $25 billion agreement to build 4 nuclear power plants in Iran, according to their news agency. I have a couple of questions with regards to this, and you can probably guess what those questions are, actually. The CIA contravening Obama, saying, yeah, with the Russiagate report, that was misused. It only took them a number of years to admit to this, but good on them. Hell, the CIA is doing something right for a change. That's new. Archaeologists find ancient harbor swallowed by the sea near Cleopatra's Temple. We're going to use this just as a springboard into historical topics, more than anything else. Monkey Shines. I haven't owned a television since analog went digital. Yeah, most people use those screens at this point just to hatch into on-demand of some sort or YouTube videos or something. Albin Johnson. Do you listen to DSBM? I don't know if you mean a band with that acronym. I'm assuming you mean depressive suicidal black metal, and yes, the answer is absolutely. They used to have a really, really great blog for that with downloads and everything, but then when they went after Mega Upload, most of those blogs closed down, and it was really, really sad. And this has happened multiple times. They go after your downloading service, and it's like, look, if the band hasn't complained, and if the person has clearly on their blog, hey, if you want it taken down, I'm willing to take down this link, I don't see the problem. But they went after that. Yeah, I like black metal. The more depressive or insane, the better. I got to the point where it's like, hey, I have to listen to gore grind, basically. Possible planned, Joseph Beninati. What do you think about the possible planned massive strike from multiple unions in 2028, including grocery workers, that Carolyn Borisenko and InfoWars reported on? Do you think Trump would be able to stop it? You can't really stop it. They have the right to strike. Just saying. I mean, the first thing that should always be considered when a policy is considered is, does the sword cut both ways? Just saying. I have a feeling that they're not going to do anything because the strike in general won't do anything. There's no point to it. Ryan Sewell. I think I have listened to Witch Rot, actually. I think that I heard that some time ago. Can't remember the name of the song. Deicide is good. Great Awakening, US. I like Marduk. I like Leviathan. I like most music. Basically, you have to get into improv jazz, which is unlistenable, unless you're completely wasted, I suppose. Or country western, like the modern shit. I hate that. Old school country, great. Bluegrass, great. In fact, I released Redneck Ralph, actually, the other day. I finally found the file. It was hidden on one of my USB drives, and I had put it in the wrong folder. That's why at first I couldn't find it. For some reason, it was in with the videos. But I'm going to be doing more of them. And I'm going to get some banjo backup music. I got to do Game Mario and all that stuff. Patrol, I would prefer to simply have a subscriber make a simple backing track and then I can just loop it. Because these are vignettes. So this is one of my hobbies, doing voiceovers of other characters. And you sort of get in the mode where you sort of become them. And I just ramble. I don't have a script when I'm making this. When you listen to Redneck Ralph, that was all improvisational. I did that in one take, no edits, no anything. It was just a banjo backing track with me rambling and pretending to be Redneck Ralph. It's fun. Apocalypse, wow. Trump needs to get rid of Bondi, Patel, and Carr. They are a PR liability and are inadvertently energizing the neolib class. Also Bongino as well. Bongino, Bongino, it doesn't really matter. Get rid of him too. Anyways, let's get to our sponsors really quickly. Then we'll give you the big news before we get to the regular news. Sponsors! We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get delicious mushroom pills. And they will boost your energy. They will help you with your health. There are several varieties available, and personally, I think they all boost energy. Like, I'm on 2 of them right now. There's a reason that I speak more quickly these days. It's because I upped my dose of the mushroom pills, I believe. Also, you can get doggo snacks as well. For your pupper in your life, it will make their coat sheenier and make them more energetic. Will also help them sleep better, so that's always good. These are made with mushroom extracts, so it's some good stuff. Secondly, BiltongUSA.com, the home of Anton's imported goods. Anytime that we mention Anton, we have to take one of these spreads, of course. Yummy. Bovrite is the best of them. I enjoy that. It gives me a little treat every day. Also, he's got meat and lots of it. His factory there actually got blown off of its foundation by the storm a couple of days ago. But it looks like they'll be able to repair it without too much problem. You can get Wagyu, Angus, Cabanassi, Bison, Venison. You name it, he's probably got the meat. You know, he'll probably be doing squirrel or alligator sometime soon. We've also got Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts. And then we also have jamandbean.com. Yeah, grab your tea. Grab a little bit of tea and tie right in. We've got Clanker coffee. We've got the really good Costa Rica blend. The Clanker coffee is the more official one, of course. Got some back there, actually. Let me show you one. Yeah. These ones are still sealed. I've got lots of coffee. Although I drink it so quickly that it never lasts long enough. And, of course, other teas. Jolly Peach, Friendship Tea. You've got the Healer, Yunnan Jig, which is what I've got right now. That one's caffeinated. Most of them are non-caffeinated, so it's like green teas, chai, stuff like that, sane teas. But there are some that are not caffeine-free, so that's sort of your boost in the morning. In fact, I brewed some Yunnan Jig this morning, and I'm really hoping that nobody threw out the other tea that was still left in the pot. I'm really hoping that I find that it's still there. Whoops. That would be bad. Yes, Pam Bondi does need to go. Pam Bondi needs to be fired. Apocalypse, wow. Trump needs to get rid of Bondi. Oh, I already read that one. BW, are any leftists really so dumb they can't see the diff between when we were getting banned for actual speech or just willfully blind and gaslighting for all of them? It's both. Why not have both? Some of them are too stupid. Some of them are just being evil. Pablo Miel, you can have gay Mario tell his younger nieces and nephews all his wild adventures in faraway lands fighting for good, when in reality he was just high on ecstasy, listening to techno in a gay club. Now, with gay Mario, the basic premise is that there's a man named Mario, he's heavily Italian, and he's gay. He gets found out as gay. But he's got this really close friend, Antonio, that's trying to cover for him all the time, but Mario keeps doing, like, over-the-top gay shit. I find it funny. I'll have to record some later. I was going to do it last night, but I got tired. And today I was run through the ringer, so I might be too tired to do it today. I may or may not even get to my books. Anyway, I want you all to witness a spectacular moment Bye! That's the last time that you're going to see it on the wall. This is the original Gangsta Styx, Hex, and Hammer play button. This is its original box. And I'm going to have to do a little bit of packing because I don't still have the foam around it. So, let's put you in your coffin. Somebody's going to mount you on the wall or something. Whether you happen to be a deep clanker or a tech enthusiast or whatever it happens to be, that can be yours. I am going to give 72 hours to all of the hardcore clankers that see this to message me on Twitter, DM, make an offer. I will take the highest bid, assuming that the bid is high enough. Otherwise, it's going on eBay with a reserve, and we'll see what happens. And just to prove to everyone else that it is real, because there is only one of them in the world, and it's one of the old school ones, I'm well aware of its value. So, yeah. I have my own endorsement here. You get to be witnesses to a piece of, I guess, tech history or something like that. Or at the very least, a good time. I've decided to detach myself from a lot of my worldly belongings because there are other things that are more valuable in the world. Things that subscribers sent me and stuff like that, of course, and my occult collection and things related to my work are exempt. You can see there is no seal on it yet. This is to certify that the included YouTube play button is original and authentic. I sign my seal below for all to witness. Yeah, that's my own seal. JD Spare sent me that. It's really cool, by the way. So, it is done. I'm selling the YouTube play button because I don't care about it. I care more about having money to do the things that I want to do. I'll get a little trawler or something. Yeah, Bobby, will you give $1 million for the play button? I wouldn't be giving you $1 million. You can pay that if you want. So yes, you can DM me on Twitter if you would like to put in a bid and purchase it. I'm giving first swing to subscribers now, of course. You pay up front, it will be properly packed. I think that I'm probably reliable enough that you know I'm not going to screw you over. And this is the original. This is not a reproduction. In fact, I don't think they even reproduce the original version anymore, only the new ones. I'm not 100% sure. You can buy those for $80 actually on eBay if you just want a reproduction. But yeah, it's a little bit different. This one has its original box and everything else. It's real. There's only one in the entire world. But the other thing is that YouTube has let me down. I've been algorithmically demoted for a considerable, substantial amount of time. I know that they're demoting me. There was a congressional inquiry into this. Apparently, they were even demoting members of Congress for some time. Just imagine what they do to you and I if you're on their shit list. Or if you're not on the nice kids list, then you aren't really visible. For example, with Redneck Ralph, the original file is somewhere there, it's just not searchable. You can't find it. I have a feeling that this is probably the case with other videos because I have copied out the titles of some of my videos verbatim and popped them in and not even seen my uploads. Well, real cool, especially when nobody gets notified when I upload. This URL, by the way, will be included in the description on eBay, assuming that nobody bids enough to actually grab it in the first 72 hours. It will have a link there. The link will be included regardless in another piece of paperwork. I'm considering the likelihood, number one, I have to put it in a bigger box, so the box will be in a box with extra packing. But because it is glass on the front, I'm thinking of using a little bit of tape and putting like maybe a plastic or wooden placard on front just to give it extra reinforcement because I don't want anyone to buy a broken play button. Pablo Miel, you could have gay Mario tell his younger nieces and nephews all the wild adventures and... Oh, I already read that. Spider Eternal, I opened bidding with 250. Copium says 350. It's going to be more than a few $100s. Look at the prices on eBay. Most of those don't even have the original box. Just saying. BW, Sticks, are you about to self-delete, are you? Huh? No, I'm just selling the play button because I want the money more than the play button. What does it do? It sits there. Somebody else can find joy in it. I want to mount the fish up there, actually. Harrison Bergeron, getting to buy a van and live down by the river? I'm not good at fishing. Sigil, I bid a ham sandwich. Bobby, no, I'm not broke. Don't worry about that. I've got enough to get by. It's not hard. But I've decided to liquidate most of what I own because I'm tired of cat hair. I'm tired of dust. I'm tired of having things that I can't really appreciate. You know, if you had like one belonging, it would be the most important thing that you had. If you have two belongings, you're splitting time between the two of them. Then you add a third, then you add a fourth. I've decided to go full Epicurean. There are some things that I'm attached to, things that people have sent me, for example, like my Stolas drawing, or my sleazy P. Martini. And with Rumble and BitChute, of course, I work directly with the people that were running those companies. I've never talked to anyone running YouTube, so I don't see why I should continue to be attached to it. Got all sorts of things here, like, would I sell this? No. Ain't gonna be sold, dude. It's paper mache, but it's cool. Looks like me, especially with the little sword. That's the sort of thing that I'm into. I'm not interested in lame-ass awards from lame-ass companies anyway. Let's get to the news, though, shall we? I've got to talk about that, of course. Copium, I didn't say $350. I said tree fitty. I don't know what kind of tree that is. I noticed the death whistle is not on display. Good observation. Yes, we should have that on display. I'll definitely add it tomorrow. The problem is that my audio can't actually record the sound of the death whistle. I'm going to have to figure that out. Aquafan, I enjoyed Bondi in Florida. I voted for her my first time voting when I was 19 years old back in 2014. She has been very disappointing at the national level, however. She should politely retire. Yeah, ask a public official to retire. Jeffsky, yours will be the only signed play button on eBay. I'm aware of that fact. And no, Bobby, this has nothing to do with court costs. There are none. They've already been paid. Let's get to the news, though. And I'll remind people at the end of the stream, as more people come in, about that. So you can all be witness to the fact I did indeed sign and stamp that. It is authentic. That will be going with the play button. Oh, somebody's trying to text me. Broadcast TV is obsolete. No shit, Sherlock. Here's a suggestion. This actually comes from a marginally left-wing group, which is the idea, ironically enough, of privatizing the TV broadcasting system. I have a better idea. Let's let it just go extinct. Nobody watches broadcast TV anymore unless it's like the local news, the morning show, things like that. And that should be, you know, it should all be like C-SPAN or something like that, and it should be highly neutral. But it's boring, and it will remain probably boring as well. People are getting their news, their commentary, music, stuff like that. If it's not on radio, so they're in their car and they're listening to that, and many times they're just syncing up their phone anyway. They use YouTube as a jukebox, I know that I do. Most of the time, what they're watching is on-demand content. And I want to watch broadcast TV. Why? Because on-demand content is more edgy. And most of the market are adults. They don't want to watch, you know, the Tinker Train channel or something like that. It's not it unless it involves Ozzy, of course. Big problem. Other than that, though, there's really not a whole lot on broadcast TV. You put it on in the background. It's like Netflix and chill, only not sexy enough. So there's no reason for it to even really exist at this point. It's not really meaningful. Really, it should be generally, you use your TV screen most 90% of the time you're watching, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, something like that. Not really watching broadcast TV. And people cling to it because it's kind of nostalgic. I can remember the era of TV Land and TVs that were not super thin, so they were like, this wide or that deep and so forth. I can remember that era. And it was fun at the time, let me tell you. But it doesn't mean that the average person really gives any meaning to broadcast TV. It's useless. These sites, they could reduce their overhead so much if they switched to fully digital and had like on-demand services and or social media and just cut out the broadcast entirely. I'm surprised that more of them haven't done so, actually. You obtain the rights to reruns, or you obtain the rights to broadcast certain content, in the contemporary sense, and then you simply put it on there. There's no reason for the original gangsta broadcast TV. Again, it's just like with radio. Almost nobody listens to the FM radio unless their phone has died. At this point, they just cast it to their goddamn vehicle. And they're not interested in listening to all of that bullshit. Why would you? It's useless. Aquafan. Also, if you have told me 2 years ago that RFK Jr. and Marco Rubio would be Trump's best cabinet picks, I would have called you crazy. Yet here we are, and those two are by far the best. Lee Zeldin also gets mentioned along with Stefanik. Copium. Started picking it up the closer you got to the mic. Also, when we recorded it for the tracks we used it on, it had to be right up on the mic. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not good with studio stuff. Green Text Pro, do you want to win free Styx books? Free meat, free coffee, free Styx mugs? We're giving away free shit to our top posters on clankers.net. Come discuss gardening, publishing, paranormal, and more. Clank. So yeah, TV's dying. Good riddance. About the only thing, rigging up an old school TV and having like TV Land reruns or something like that, that would be funny. Yeah, apparently some people think that I'm going to self-harm. That is not my intent. I'm just saying I'm going to start liquidating things I don't use. I don't need them. Also, I need more bookshelf space for the occult books, so I need to liquidate most of the others. There are a few that I'll retain. Stuff that my grandpa owned, a few other odds and ends. But mostly, I really just want a more sparse existence. I'm not interested in physical objects as much anymore. It's not necessary. Things that are nostalgic, that's one thing. Things that don't have any nostalgic value and aren't actually being used for anything, yeah, I mean, decoration is great, but maybe somebody else will like it better. This is from The Blaze, by the way. The FBI had 274 plainclothes agents embedded in the J6 crowds, congressional source says. Believable. Here's the problem. It is not a problem that the FBI, knowing that there was going to be a big event near the Capitol, would have embedded officers. That's not the problem. And some people are getting distracted by the very existence of this idea. That's not the issue, though. The issue is that they then lied to the public and said, no, we didn't have anyone there. Which would have been a dereliction of duty, actually. Now you had several hundred of these people there. We now know this. It's been revealed. You lied to the American public. It's good that you're finally admitting to the fact that you lied, which is what you inadvertently did, but you did lie to the public. We were told that there weren't any agents there, or maybe only a couple, or something like that. Well, 274 is more than a couple now, isn't it? Reminds me of that scene from The Hobbit where you have to get the director's cut edition. where the giant dude there, the skin changer, Beorn, he confronts the hobbits as they come out, one by one and two by two, and then he's questioning Gandalf about how he labels them. Is 3 a couple? Is that a few? Is that a troop? Stuff like that. If you haven't seen the movie, you should see it. It is worth watching just for the first hour or so. Just saying. Peter Jackson did the best that he could possibly have done with a very, very bad situation. The fact that he was able to mostly salvage it is actually a credit to his name, considering the problems that were attendant the original recording. Snowball Party, hi, from Vermont. Hello from Vermont, my fellow Vermonter. Sigil, go Bud Dwyer mode on stream for maximum lulls. I don't know who that is, actually. Bud Dwyer, who's that? An American politician serving in Pennsylvania and committed suicide during a press conference. Oh, that's that dude who shot himself in the head with the revolver. Yeah, he was just talking to some people. All of a sudden, he reaches into a bag, grabs a revolver, and blows his head off. Yeah. By the way, it's illegal to encourage me to do that, but I won't file a police report. Because you're Sigil Stone, and I know that you're joking. Police reports should be used far more sparingly for actual significant things. Snakes bleed red. If I send you a legit Vermont flag, will you keep it? Absolutely. I still have every piece of correspondence ever sent to me by a subscriber. Letters, postcards, and things like that. I've had people send me stories. I have them all. I literally stuff them into the fireproof safe, actually, for safekeeping, because I want to keep them around. It reminds me of the past, and it makes me happy. And I want my daughter to inherit them, of course, so that she can see, this is the sort of thing, though in some cases, the weird shit that people said to Daddy. Copium Poppies, isn't that the dude the song Hey Man, Nice Shot by Filter was about? I don't know. Anderson Paladin, hello from Canada, please send help. I'm afraid that I'm only got one rake, and I'm gonna need it pretty soon because the leaves are falling. It's unfortunate. Sigil, yeah, you know who Bud Dwyer is. Everyone's seen that video, and the aftermath being filmed so tightly is an indictment of the media. Yeah, I did see that. It rang a bell, but I couldn't remember which person it was. Copium Poppies. If so, I saw them play that song a few months ago. Filter is great live. Huh. Don't know that I've heard them. I probably did. I mean, I've listened to a lot of music, but over time, when you've listened to tens of thousands of different bands and singers, sometimes you forget. Iran and Russia signed $25 billion agreement to build 4 nuclear power plants in Iran, IRNA says. Questions. Number 1. How are you going to fund 4 fully functioning nuclear plants, even on the relatively small scale, with just $25 billion? They are expensive. Secondly, where are you going to get the uranium from? Third, are we sure that this isn't just some sort of op? Fourth, if you build them, they will come. Somebody was posting that earlier with a picture of a B-2 stealth bomber, actually. How are you going to maintain these plants? How are you going to shield them from being bombarded? It's not entirely clear. I happen to believe, and I realize that some people disagree with me, while Iran can be an antagonistic agent within that general region, I do not believe that they seriously want atomic weapons. And here's the reason why. Because the situation between Iran and the US is so fraught to begin with, and Iran and NATO in general, which is even larger and has even more manpower and airfields and stuff like that, if they were to develop an atomic weapon, they wouldn't even be able to tell anyone. There'd be no way to test whether it even works without getting discovered in having lied to the entire Western world about your ambitions. And if they did so, they would still be behind North Korea with regards to technology. So the problem for them would be, how do you actually use the weapon without getting absolutely steamrolled? One atomic weapon, dude, the fighter that tries to deliver it wouldn't get through, presumptively, Israeli and or possibly Turkish airspace, would be downed, and you'd get egg on your face. You would have wasted a bunch of money, and then retaliation would be fairly swift, because conducting a first strike with even an old school atomic weapon would get you glassed. You'd be completely destroyed. Iran would no longer exist. By the way, Iran, one of the oldest countries in the world, actually. Technically speaking, Iran is to Persia as the Soviet Union was to the Russian Empire. Oh, you changed religion or you changed economic models. It's still the same country. Basically, Iran is technically Persia. But I don't think that they're seriously considering deploying atomic weapons. And then it would be quite some time before they could upgrade them to multi-stage nuclear weapons. I'm not afraid of the Iranians. I don't think anyone in the region should be afraid of them. When they launched their bombardment on Israel, 99% of the drones got downed before they even entered airspace, so I wouldn't be too worried. And that seems to be what U.S. politicians are most worried about. They're not worried so much about the U.S., they're more worried about Israel. Honestly. That is true. That is one big problem that I happen to have with U.S. foreign policy. Copium Poppies. Everyone has heard that song, Take a Picture. Oh, I haven't, actually. Hey, man, nice shot! And there's another video. I'll have to take that later. So, I wouldn't worry about the Iranians. Can they be a nuisance? Yeah. Did they say death to America? Yeah. And then there was that one weird moment where they said, well, no. Death to America doesn't mean we want to kill you. It's a sign of respect. And I was thinking to myself, no, I don't think so. Not on that one. I may not be afraid of you, but you're being disingenuous. Come on, dude. It's like if I said death to Iran. Well, what do you think that I mean? It means that I want Iran to be destroyed. Anderson Paladin, hello from Canada, please. Oh, I already read that one. Well, you got a double there. Sometimes it tries to go back up to the top of the page over on StreamYard. It can be a problem. It's a little bit of a nuisance. So, yeah, my biggest question is how 25 billion is enough to create all of these reactors and hook them up and staff them and everything else. The answer is I don't think it would be enough. They're saying that it'll create, a half of megawatts, 500 megawatts or something like that. I've only got one operative nuclear plant, so this would be about 50% of the output of the plant that they have. It would help prevent blackouts, and you gotta understand, I don't wish any ill will on the Iranian people, and I want them to be happy just like I want everyone to be happy. I just question whether this is actually going to be a thing. And keep in mind, Russia has gotten into deals before where it got backstabbed. They'd had this with China back in the 2010s. They made a deal with China to create an oil pipeline, right? To supply China with oil. And there was a pre-agreed upon price with regards to that oil. But then the oil prices plummeted right around the time China was supposed to ink the final deal. Pipeline's already there, so Russia has already invested a lot of money into creating it. And then Putin went to Beijing and met with Xi Jinping. And Xi was like, well, sorry, we can't pay you that much, so here's the new total. Sorry about that. Putin left in a rage. He left early from Beijing, and he didn't do it because there was some conflict or something that he had to directly oversee. It was clearly diplomatic. The Chinese screwed the Russian nation. I wonder if Russians know that the Chinese government was the one that screwed you the hardest in the last 100 years. Just saying. Yeah, they screwed them. Probably still losing money on that particular transaction, although they have become closer since then, so I'm assuming that there was some degree of renegotiation. But Putin ended up effectively, at least short term, losing money on that endeavor, and then tried to save face. Copium Poppies, take a picture! Let's see. You know, it's very, very difficult for me to actually utilize links from chat. Filter, take a picture. Okay, I'll look that up later. It's very difficult for me to do that because I already have to have two screens open. I can almost guarantee you've heard those. The singer used to be in Nine Inch Nails. Oh, Trent Reznor. And his brother was the Liquid Terminator from Terminator 2. By the way, did you listen to the Richelieu song from yesterday? I haven't, but I do have it docketed in a tab. Inland Surfer, I hope the DOJ and FBI make good with their investigation of John Brennan. He deserves to be sentenced to the Styx criminal gladiatorial system. That would be funny as fuck. Yeah, I believe in bringing back the Colosseum. Ice Pole, hello from England. Please send help. The Canadians and the English have asked for aid from the United States. We will take a vote. Shall we give it to them? Or only one or the other, you never know. I would help defend the English or the Canadians if I needed to. I like England. And, you know, most of my family's from there. I like Canada. They're my hat, you know? Just a sec. CIA contradicts Obama officials' sworn denials about Russiagate report. Yeah, it turns out the CIA, kind of semi-quietly, released a report saying, oh yeah, when we reviewed this, yeah, there was a lot of unsubstantiated shit in here that was used to substantiate things that are unsubstantiated. This is pure CIA, by the way. I mean, look through the fucking article if you can. It's called, it's from Real Clear Investigation. CIA contradicts Obama officials' sworn denials about Russiagate report. Turns out that they pretty much knew it was bullshit. The original report was also bullshit, but they covered it up anyway. And the CIA, when the CIA is the agency that's coming clean about something like this, don't you think that's a fucking problem? These are the dudes that partner with the Coast Guard to steal all the cocaine and stuff like that. These are the people that are doing some of the most dirty dealing in the world, actually. They're right up there with Mossad or the KGB or something like that. They probably figured, hey, the evidence is so overwhelming with the Trump administration breathing down our necks, we're going to have to do something. So we'll get in their good graces, and hopefully we escape unscathed. I think that that's probably what's happening here. So the CIA decided to flip, unlike the FBI. I'm still trying to guard Comey and things like that. Copium Poppies. Right-click the link and select Open a New Tab. YouTube vids don't start playing until you go by the tab and hit play. I know that, but I've got a bunch of tabs open, my dude. Trent Reznor was not in Filter. Richard Patrick is their singer. Used to be Nine Inch Nails guitarist early on. Oh, yeah. You gotta realize, I like music a lot, but I don't really pay attention to albums or the names of people or anything like that. I'm more interested just in listening to the songs. Sure, I like a good album. Like I've got Mediterranean Tales by Triumvirate, which is the strangest album I've ever heard in my life. Imagine if you took piratically themed music but made it psychedelic and gave it like weird titles that could only have been influenced by LSD or something like that, like 5 o'clock tea and Satan's breakfast and stuff. That track is the reason I bought it. It was only like $10. It's in perfect condition. You know, I figured I want to listen to this. I'm glad I did. And then finally, how long have I been going on? About 40 minutes. Okay, whatever. Archaeologists find ancient harbor swallowed by the sea near Cleopatra's temple. We was kings, man. You weren't kings. This is from the Ptolemaic period. So a lot of people don't know this, but in the wake of the Greece liberating Egypt, and it was considered a liberation by the Egyptians. Alexander the Great took up the title of pharaoh, actually, and was he was extremely respected in Egypt. And then the Ptolemaic regime began. Ptolemy took over Egypt after Alexander was assassinated, and he was assassinated. He was poisoned, I believe. It appears that Hellebore may have been involved. We're not 100% sure. The details are a little bit murky, but he died. And the Greek Empire broke up into multiple factions, the most powerful of which was the Ptolemaic faction, and lasted a very, very long time. Well into the Roman period, the Ptolemaic leadership was effectively still in power. Cleopatra may have gotten killed, but generally speaking, they were still in power. There was one time in which Cleopatra, I think it was Mark Antony, or was it Julius Caesar? She had herself put up in a rug and literally carried and then displayed like meat, nude, in front of the Roman leadership. And this was considered to be hilarious. Then she got paraded through the streets of Rome and, eventually died. But, yeah. The whole Asp story, they're still not 100% sure that that's accurate. Well, we know that she died. But the Ptolemaic period was rulership by people of Greek origin. So when they say we was kangs, we built a bunch of temples and stuff, those were built mainly by Greek people. I hate to tell you this. This is historical. Very, very interesting. But this particular remain hearkens to a time in which the Ptolemaics were still in charge. This is around the time they were still widely respected locally because of Alexander the Great, because they drove out the Persians, of course, centuries prior. And so they were still heralded as heroes more than anything else. They weren't seen as a conquering army, they were seen as a liberating army. And you should definitely watch the movie Alexander, by the way. The Battle of Guatemala alone is definitely worth it for the cinematic experience. They did a good job with the movie. Is there some gay shit? Yeah. Was that actually happening back then? Yeah, it was. So it's actually fairly historically accurate. I remember I was taking, what was it? I can't remember the history class I was taking. But the teacher put it on, and I liked the movie. A lot of other people apparently didn't like it. I think it was because it made them uncomfortable, because it insinuates that Alexander and Hephaestion had a pseudo-gay relationship, but it wasn't reckoned the same back then. It was more about whether you're a top or a bottom. So it would be just as gay back then if you had a girl riding you. It's a little bit strange. It bears a lot of explanation. But, yeah, Alexander got the job done. Look at Guatemala. Yeah, we're outnumbered 2-1. Yeah, we'll just wedge the formation, and then we'll flank them, and everything else will be fine. It actually worked. Copium, dude, seriously, try diving deep into music instead of dabbling in toe dipping. You miss out on a lot when you don't dive deep. Already been there, done that. I've been doing it for years. It's like with the blogs I used to plow through. You'd get all sorts of cool recommendations. Unfortunately, YouTube, while a good jukebox for on-the-surface music, is not so good for finding the B-sides, the demos, the obscure bands, the good shit, some of which is more talented than most of the A-list shit that gets listed no matter what you search. Yeah, ancient Greece was pretty hardcore. I mean, you didn't establish a stable empire, but it created a bunch of groups that slowly became part of what became ancient Rome. So Alexander the Great is probably the most meaningful military mind in all of world history, and deserves credit for it. Technically of Macedon, but, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, he was probably gay with Hephaestion. We'll put it that way. But he was probably the top. John Hoyle, not long ago, Vermont maple syrup was not nearly as widely available as today. Now it's everywhere. I'm suspicious of the ubiquitous presence of it in the market today. What's the deal? Well, it's simply superior. We're going to slowly overrun the maple syrup market from other states and regions in the world and take it over because ours is the best. That's what I'm talking about. Tom Baldwin, Friday Ramblings. Yeah, we can talk a little history, a little bit of news. Let's see, what else did we have here? Oh yeah, you got Kamala Harris blaming everyone but herself for her loss. This is not surprising, though. This isn't even fucking news. This'll just go in the bant section, I suppose. Kamala Harris is doing exactly what Hillary Clinton did. Entitled females believe that they're entitled to power, and then when they're denied power because nobody fucking likes them, all of a sudden they start blaming everyone else, including some of their own allies. In Kamala's case, though, she does have one legitimate gripe. And this is actually interesting because Hillary Clinton never had any legitimate gripe. You know, the DCCC didn't give me enough money. Yeah, only hundreds of millions. Okay. The DNC didn't back me enough. What are they supposed to do? Take people off of other campaign trails and just allocate every single one of them to yours? Well, the pink pussy hat wearers, they didn't come out enough. They were probably your highest voting cohort. So in Hillary Clinton's case, it was all just sour grapes. With Kamala Harris, though, she does have one bitch that she's put out that is technically true. Yeah, I'm actually elevating Kamala Harris over Hillary Clinton. In fact, would prefer to be with her on a desert island other than Hillary, because I think Hillary would just stab me and eat my meat, whereas Kamala would just bitch and cry the whole time. The latter's preferable to the former, in my personal opinion. Kamala is technically correct in that the state and regional functions did not coordinate with her campaign. Famously the case in Pennsylvania. In a number of states, they weren't taking their calls, they weren't organizing with them, they weren't fundraising for them, and they had no concern for them. They went into protective mode, I think. This is my read of the situation. They went into protective mode, and they said, look, Kamala's not going to win. So we need to withdraw from that, push her aside, ignore her completely. We're going to raise funds for local and regional candidates. That's basically what, and it wasn't just Pennsylvania, but that's basically just what happened. And they didn't do enough fundraisers. Again, technically she's correct when she says this. Hate to give credit where credit's due. You know, it's hard to give Kamala Harris credit for anything other than probably her blowjob abilities, if Willie Brown is any indicator. Other than that, though, yeah, she's technically right. The Democratic Party really fucked up, too, because if she decides to turn on them in the next election, they're going to be more tarred and feathered than tarred and feathered here, over on Rumble, of course. Copium, actually, YouTube is great for that. Most of the shit that used to be hard to find is on there. B-sides, rare tracks aren't really a thing anymore. No, it's almost impossible to find them unless you want to give them your privacy. If you want to give your privacy away, then that's fine. Or if you want to search through playlists. I have to search through playlists in order to find, you know, old obscure like 80s music and stuff like that, or, you know, rock and roll and stuff. It's almost impossible to find it otherwise. Like, I can look up the band name. I can literally know the readout of the actual upload, copy paste it, put it in, and it'll be on like page 5 or something like that. So yes, there is a great deal of algorithmic demotion. There's a great deal of obfuscation. It's not really, it doesn't make sense as a platform anymore like it used to. Pavlovsky, Google massively interfered in 2020 election with explicit bans and shadow bans, to which I am still currently subject, I will add. Yes, indeed, Google did interfere in the 2020 election at a significant level. Ironic that I'm saying this on YouTube, which is sub-owned by Google. Yes, they did indeed interfere with the 2020 election. Here's your real election interference. There was no significant Russian election interference in 2016. There was one Russian troll farm. This seems to be the impetus behind claiming that it was much more vast. But in 2020, we have the FBI, we have the CIA, we have the DOJ, We have multiple legacy media firms, so-called data firms, you know, studying shit and making up shit about people. We have big tech. It is a gargantuan apparatus valued in the trillions of dollars range. That was our opponent. And so it was a little bit difficult to get over that. Our democracy has been hazarded, but it was in 2020, not in 2016, and certainly not in 2024. Most of you, I'm preaching to the choir with this one, but it bears mentioning anyway because it is the truth. Because Russia didn't really do anything. Do they run propaganda? And we gotta be honest. Does Russia run propaganda? Yes, absolutely. To the tune of many millions of dollars per year. Do they have hacking rings? Yes, to the same tune. Do they have disinformation operations? Absolutely. So does the United States. We have the same thing on steroids. They're not capable of doing jack shit. Had nothing to do. Donald Trump was not elected by Russia. He was elected by the American people. Twice now. Joe Biden, meanwhile, was elected by the Chinese. That's basically where it goes. Yeah, those millions of votes, they just materialized out of nowhere. And they were all mail-in, so, you know. Thankfully on YouTube now, they no longer have their stupid so-called election disinfo, which means really election, true information, policy, so I'm allowed to talk about it now, apparently. Yeah. It's really sad, too, because there are still people out there that reckon that Vladimir Putin is currently the President of the United States. Very strange. I was not aware of this. Probably rather have him than Xi Jinping, but yeah, no, we maintain sovereignty. The system of PSYOPs is to create confusion in your adversary, to make them question what's really real. If you can scramble their minds like a goddamn egg, they can't really respond to you, because they don't know what they're responding to. Every major country in the world engages in these operations, PSYOPs, psychological operations. Happens regularly. I've been trained in this. I've met people who are even more trained in this. Some of us use our power for good. Understanding the human psyche and things like that, we can say, well, now I can try to convince people, hey, we need less government, we need less war, we need more liberty. People should be able to express themselves and stuff. Then they'll be, oddly enough, more resistant to psychological operations, which is good for the country. Other people don't use it for good reasons. They use it to try to make money or gain power. That's what you have to be aware of. Always question people's integrity, including mine, by the way. You should question my integrity. Copium Poppies. Searching a few pages in YouTube for the music is rare, if you know the title. Besides, rarities and bootlegs used to be only be able to be found, with luck and lots of money, in local record stores. Now they're on YouTube. I'm still waiting for the B-side to Plastic Thunder, by the way. Yeah, that would be great. That was on, what album was it? The Georgia Peach album, and it was like proto-metal and stuff like that. I think they had the Bikers theme and stuff like that. It was a really great song, Plastic Thunder. Look it up. It's, in my opinion, it is the first true metal song. The current upload incorrectly listed as 68, but it's actually from 67. And it's along the lines of Biker's Tune, maybe Coven demos, Born to be Wild, Steppenwolf, stuff like that, but it's more, it conforms more to metal than the other ones do. I recognize that as the first heavy metal song ever created. That's just my opinion. Some people say it's Black Sabbath. I happen to disagree. Copium, what's the B-side called? What's the band? Let me look this up. I'm going to try to see if it's actually up. What's the B-side? It's Bitter Creek, that's the band. Supposedly this was released 1970, but this is a collection. The original, as far as I can ascertain, was 1967. And what was the name of the B-side? I think it was called Municipal Waste Removal Man. And I've never heard it, but I have a feeling that it's probably some sort of warped psychedelic cover of 1966's 21st Century Schizoid Man by what's their names? Fucking what's the name of that band? King Crimson. I have a feeling that it's probably some sort of joke cover, actually, for the B-side. But I've never actually heard the other song. I can try to find it. Yeah, we're probably never going to find it. There might not even be a physical album left because of how obscure it is, which is really, really sad. But Plastic Thunder is really good. Really great song. Problem is we can't find the B-side. Yeah, King Crimson, Whiteheaded Rex. 21st Century Schizoid Man, great song. Technically proto-metal. It's more on the psychedelic side, but with Plastic Thunder, it's more on the metal side. You could call it garage rock if you want, but then you have to sort of develop like a categorization system. What actually constitutes heavy metal? Is it the tone? Is it the lyrics? Is it the way in which it's sung? There's a little bit of confusion because you could argue that Coven is technically metal, or at least proto-metal. But psychedelic and metal, you know, they had sex long ago, back in the late 1960s anyway, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly where the delineation is. I would think 67, Crimson before that is definitely psychedelic. It's not metal, although it's approaching it. Black Sabbath as Earth, I don't think had been convened at the time, so that wouldn't count. Steppenwolf is like CCR style hard rock-ish, with psychedelic overtones. I don't think that quite counts. But with Plastic Thunder, I think that it does count. And I see Pink Floyd. Clockwork Lemon. Pink Floyd so bad they sold 250 million albums. Yeah, I know. Helios Ending, my favorite male vocals to listen to. Maynard James Keenan, Brian Ferry. Thank you for mentioning Brian Ferry. You are a man of class. Trent Reznor, David Sylvian. Yeah, I just like music, you know? Yeah, now we're in a debate over what constitutes metal. I do agree that Pink Floyd is not heavy metal. It is psychedelic rock. Oops. Black Sabbath is heavy metal, at least in their latter albums. Maybe when they started off, it wasn't quite heavy metal, certainly as Earth, but it quickly becomes that. But I challenge the concept that Black Sabbath is the first heavy metal band. I would say, well, technically I don't challenge that. Let me retract that. The first heavy metal song, in my opinion, is Plastic Thunder by... is Plastic Thunder. The first proto-metal is like King Crimson, Coven, things like that. So Plastic Thunder gets the first song. Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath gets the first album. And technically speaking, they're arguably the first metal band. Although it's a gray area because it depends on what you define as metal as opposed to hard rock and or like heavy psychedelic. So, for example, Coven would not be on the list. Jinx Dawson is great, still has a great voice. She's in her fucking 70s. Band was really, really cool, still kicking it, but it's not heavy metal. It's occult-themed dark psychedelic, basically. Heavy psychedelic, you'd call it, I suppose. Copium Poppies, Pink Floyd and King Crimson or prog rock? Yeah. I like both, by the way. I like the latter day Pink Floyd and, 21st Century Schizoid Man, and also Court of the Crimson King. That was another great King Crimson song. Highly underrated. It's another example of something that's highly rated, but yet underrated. And it happens all the time, and I hate it. I think we had that on vinyl, actually. Not 100% sure. I think we had that. Has a weird album cover. And by the way, I believe that probably inspired the cover album for Sweet Bird of Truth by, I don't know exactly whether it's the, or the. I'm not 100% sure. The. Great songs. Sweet Bird of Truth, look it up. I'm pretty sure that album cover was probably based on King Crimson. It's very similar in style and effect, and so forth. Copium, you're all wrong. The first metal song from 1958 and only instrumental track to get banned on radio. Oh, well, this I gotta see. Let me copy that out. Put it over here. Let me see it. Is this metal? I will determine. I don't even have my headphones clipped in. The fuck is it so low? Just give me a second. No, it's not going to there. Okay, if that is indeed from 1958, that would... Huh. Yeah, can you, because I'm on desktop, can you send me the direct link to that, please? Yeah, I mean, if that is, that's actually from 58, that would be, yeah, I would class that as heavy metal. Maybe I'm wrong. By the way, no, I'm not farting. Somebody pointed that out earlier. When I go like this, the thing scrapes against the desk. Is that just the right height? Yeah, let me try to, yeah, please get me the, it's a YouTube short. Rock stars as Nintendo characters. It's trying to find. I hate YouTube shorts and think they should be removed. That sounds more modern, though, sound-wise. Are you sure that this isn't some, like, modern metal song that's been, or doom metal song that's been plastered over footage of someone from the 50s? Copium, will in a bit. Every time I go to YouTube, it pauses the stream. Fucking annoying. Yeah, please get me that, that link, because that's my kind of music. Sounds good. Snakes bleed red. Guar did a show with a crazy Trump puppet and people freaked out. Lol. Yeah, soon I'll be going on with Sleazy. Actually, he emailed me. I'm going to go on his live show, Slaughterama. It'd be funny. Now we're going to be in an endless debate, because if there's one debate other than food that really gets people going, it's what constitutes a genre of music. It doesn't matter if it's metal, by the way. What constitutes pop? What constitutes rock? What constitutes rap? What constitutes hip-hop? And then they endlessly subdivide the categories. Like, there's thousands of categories on this one site that I use. I'm just using it to find new bands to listen to. But it's quite a lot. It would take you a very long time to go through it all. Copium Bobbies, the song is Rumble by Link Ray. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, okay. Okay, that one's from 74 though. That's not from 58. Oh, there is an original, an instrumental, supposedly from 50. I'll have to research this. Yeah. Also, I've got a lot to do today. I've got some organizing to do, and we had mac and cheese the other night. Taste is good, right? But it's way too dry and crumbly. So I'm gonna make up a slurry with some melted cheese and some heavy cream, and whip it up with some herbs and spices so that it makes it more wet. Anyways, today is Friday. I have other things that I must do. Many things, actually. I'm going to be pretty much flat out through the weekend, actually. So, I'm going to melt the cheese. Yes, a Tom Baldwin. So, I'm going to go offline now, and I will dock it a little bit more stuff for tomorrow. Of course, I don't live stream on the weekends, and I've got some things that I have to do. A lot of things that I have to do. Wish I had an assistant at the moment, actually. So, that's about all. Peace out.